Today we'll be tackling another really lovely dish, which is another way of cooking lasagne. I think we did before the one with the tomato sauce and with lentils. Today instead we'll be using mushrooms and spinach. So it's going to be like a white lasagna without any tomato sauce. So it looks slightly different, but it's really full of taste. Let's get into the ingredients straight away while we wait for everybody to turn up. Today you'll be happy to hear that, new year, new beginnings. The last few times I haven't used any garlic. Today we will be using plenty of garlic. So so be ready to stink a little bit. So that's for the lasagna. And then after we prepare the lasagna and we put it in the oven and we're waiting for that to cook, we'll be preparing some pannacotta that you can top with the topping that you like. We can use chocolate, or I'll be using chocolate and peanut butter mixed together. But you can choose your favorite ingredient, or otherwise you can use a fruit topping as well. It's the base is the same, just the topping differs.
Peter's asking, what about honey?
What about honey?
Yeah, whether you can have honey on the top of it.
Yeah, I've never tried it with honey, but I'm sure it will be fine. It's easy. It's easy to make as well. You don't need to cook the topping as well. Okay, let's go through the ingredients for the lasagna. So first of all, we need some garlic, which in a moment I'll proceed to peel and crush together. You need some lasagna sheets. So today we'll be using ready-made lasagna sheets rather than making them ourselves, which you can do, but it takes a lot longer. And these ones are quite good as well, because I just got these from Marks and Spencer's yesterday. And most of the lasagna sheets nowadays, they come so you don't have to pre-cook them, which is good. So you can just lay them dry in the tray. Then obviously the main ingredients will be mushrooms. I've got some brown butter mushrooms, which we prefer you to use in the white. They're a little bit tastier. If you have any, you could also mix some porcini mushrooms, which obviously are the best for these things. But today, as I haven't asked you, so I haven't used any. Although we always have some. You can always have something like this, some dried mushrooms. Then they need to be rehydrated, so will need to be soaked in boiling water for about half an hour, and then they'll be ready to use. But I won't be using any of these today.
Now Peter said plus vermicelli. I don't know what he means by that.
Sorry, vermicelli?
Vermicelli meant Troy. Troisi. CHOCIE.
Sorry, pak choi.
Let me just have a look.
It's
mint Troy, yeah, chocolate. Oh yeah, sounds lovely. Very nice, yes.
Okay, so after the mushrooms, you'll need a little bit of fresh parsley that I just picked from our garden. Then we need a couple of bags of spinach. Okay, these are the couple of bags of spinach washed and spinned and dried. And then what have we got here? Then we need a little bit of cheese. I'll be using this vegan Parmesan, which is my favorite one to use. But if you can't find it, because at the moment it's quite difficult to get hold of, you can use another vegan cheese. And then we'll be using some nutmeg and some black pepper. And obviously to make the bechamel, we need some flour and add some soya milk, or I'll be using oat milk, which is just as good.
My laptop's going to back up, I think.
Okay.
Christine's just come into the waiting room.
Excellent. So you let her in?
Yep.
I won't go through all the ingredients for the pannacotta. We'll cover those later once we prepare these. Okay, so let's get started straight away, as there is a lot of chopping and cleaning to do. First of all, we start with the garlic. So we just, I think I'll be using about 4 or 5 cloves of garlic. This is, I've said it before many times, it's down to taste. I do like, especially with mushrooms, I do like quite a bit of garlic. But you can adjust it if you're not keen on garlic and use a little bit less. And also, I will be crushing the garlic in the pan. But an alternative, again, if you're not a lover of garlic, you can just put the garlic cloves in and then discard them once the mushrooms are cooked. But I like to have them in there because we like it, and also I like to crush them, as although I really like the flavor, I'm not keen on biting on a chunk of garlic. So,
how many people are cooking today?
Yeah, I was cooking today.
Peter is.
I was cooking today. Reveal yourself. No, Peter is cooking, as I know. I don't know who else is attempting this, or if you're trying it, or if you just absorb the information for later.
We had some last night, didn't we? It was absolutely delicious.
Yes, I had to. I haven't done this for a little while, so I just refreshed myself last night. So I cooked exactly the same dishes last night, and it came out really nice. So you're in for a treat.
And you had 3 portions.
Okay, just let's go. You don't need to go. You don't need to go into that. Okay, let's.
So we've got some messages. Today, Carol says not today. She hasn't got all the ingredients. And Maria making notes for another weekend, but really looking forward to cooking it.
Yeah, it's really nice, and it's actually quite simple. It's quite simple to cook.
Yeah.
And this is another dish that you can prepare and freeze as well. So you can freeze it if you got the little aluminium trays. You can actually, instead of doing it in a big dish, you can make it in portion size trays, and then just take it out of the freezer and cook it when you want to eat it.
Christine's just watching. She said it will be for this evening, so she's going to do it then.
Oh, good. Okay, so this is the first thing I said that I'm doing. I am crushing the garlic in the pan. Okay. So that's the first job done. Just like, I don't like to throw anything away, so I try to have as little waste as possible when I'm cooking. You can see how much garlic is still on the side at the top. Okay, so this is done. And now we're going to step 2, which is to start cleaning the mushrooms. And I will need somewhere to put them as well. So as we chop them, I will be placing them in there. And this is, I haven't had time, unfortunately, to clean the mushrooms, so I'll do it as we go along. I'll do 2 or 3 at times. So mushrooms just need to be really gently brushed of any remaining compost. So on them, you don't need to wash them. Okay, let's start chopping. This is kind of
Peter
like
says he's washed them.
Okay, good. It's fine, but it just like the mushrooms already have a lot of water in them. That's the reason why also I don't wash them. And when you do, they really get they can really get quite soggy then when you cook them. Thank you, Katerina. As I say, my valuable assistant is actually cleaning the mushrooms as I go along. So we want to slice them quite thin as well, because we don't want thick chunks in the lasagna. So if we want to have a really nice lasagna, we can have a few layers of. We want to slice this.
Okay, Catherine says that she's watching too. She didn't have any spinach or lasagna sheets. She's got them on order.
That's fine. I apologize again, as usual, for doing it this late, for just putting it advertising at the last minute. We've been busier than we thought we'd be at the end of the year, beginning of January as well. So I left here until yesterday before posting all the ingredients you needed. So I'm aware that you might not have all the ingredients. But if you do have the main ones and you're just missing a minor one, like the spinach, still try it anyway. Because there are many variants of that. I mean, I like doing it with spinach and mushrooms. You can also do it with just mushrooms. So just as nice. So Katrina, as you were so nice doing those, would you mind doing the other two?
Sure.
So we're working like a team here. Okay. Okay, and once at the moment is just this is the little preparation. Once you got the mushrooms done and the spinach, washed and dried, then it's quite fast. You'll see things will keep happening fairly quickly.
Chopping always takes longer, doesn't it?
Oh, and by the way, while we are doing the chopping, we might start turning the oven on at 200 degrees, so it's nice and hot when we're ready to put the lasagna in.
Maria says, is it the same as doing it with just spinach and no mushrooms? Can you just do spinach on its own?
Yes, you can do it with spinach on its own as well. It's fine. I mean, there's a nice recipe as we were talking about it. If you're doing it with spinach on its own, there's a really nice alternative, which is spinach and walnuts, and it basically very simple. The walnuts just don't need much cooking at all, just a little toasting, and then adding on. So it just adds a little bit because the spinach pretty much disintegrate when you cook them. It's nice to have something that gives a little bit of texture. So that's why normally you find them mixed with something else. Because you can see those two big bags of spinach, once we start cooking them, they will be reduced to next to nothing. By the way, we love spinach as well in salads. We often eat it in getting the fresh, the young leaf spinach. And we just have it on its own with other vegetables or mixed with other types of salads.
Sue says, what weight of mushrooms?
It's 600 grams, so 2 punnets. At least you know, these are the ones that we buy here in the supermarkets are generally 300 grams. So 600 grams of spinach, 600 grams of mushrooms. I mean, it doesn't hurt if you go a little bit more. So it doesn't have to be that you know, precise.
Catherine, it was 200. That's the oven temperature. 200,
yes, Catherine. And then it depends on your oven as well. And you see, once we place the lasagna in the oven, it depends also how you like it cooked. If you like it to be you know, nice and crispy at the top, if you like it softer, it depends on where you place your lasagna, because the lower down it's in the oven, and obviously most of the heat rises to the top. So if you put it down towards the bottom, it will be softer. If you put it towards the top, it will be harder and drier.
Right. Peter says there's a 180 centigrade fan. Shouldn't make any difference, should it?
It should be okay. We don't, although we got a fan oven as well. We never use it, to be honest with you. No. So I'm not quite sure about the timings for fan assisted, but it is generally, yes, a little bit lower.
But it's easy to check on it, isn't it, this dish? And do you need any fat in the pan? That's Peter's other question.
Yes, we haven't started cooking yet, Peter. I'll show you in a minute when we start. We'll need some olive oil. Just have a sip of my tea. You're almost there with the mushrooms, so we can start cooking in a second. Also have some sea salt to hand as well. We'll be using, as usual, we'll be using some of that too. This is not the season. It's too cold for mushrooms here in the UK. If you are lucky enough to live somewhere, I don't know, maybe Deborah, if she's on, in Texas. I don't know if it's good time for my mushrooms up there. But if you can get some fresh ones, some wild mushrooms while you're out and about in the woods, and you know your stuff, so you won't get poisoned, obviously it will add to the flavor of the lasagna.
We've had somebody else join. Anjana has just joined us.
Hello, good morning, and welcome to the Italian Vegan. Okay, she just joined.
Yes.
Okay, just for your benefit, so that you know what we've been doing. You haven't missed much. I just went through the ingredients that we'll be using, and we just cleaned and crushed about 5 cloves of garlic. Okay, so this is the remainder. This is the remainder of the garlic that we used, and it's in there. And then now we're just cleaning and slicing the mushrooms that we'll be using for the dish. So there's no actual cooking has taken place yet. Okay, so the mushrooms are ready too. So the spinach are ready to be used too. We use these a little bit later. And okay, let's get started. So we'll need some olive oil to begin with. A couple of spoonfuls. So that 1 spoon, 2 spoons. And now I'll transfer it onto the other side. There we go. Okay, put it on a medium heat. With my wooden spoon ready. And
oh, Peter's internet crashed. He's just come back. Glad to have you back, Peter.
Thank you. So
You
where
haven't
are we
missed
now?
anything, I don't think. You're just
No.
talking about the
No,
what you're
just
going to do
listen.
next.
yes, Peter, we just put a couple of tablespoons of olive oil in the pan with the garlic. Okay, so at the moment the oil is warming up, and you always realize when the garlic doesn't need much cooking at all. Okay, once you start smelling the aroma of garlic, when it starts releasing with the heat, you're ready generally to add the other ingredients. Just put a drop more olive oil in here.
That's 3 tablespoons.
This is the less here, roughly
Yeah.
2 to 3 tablespoons. Okay, and I'll get my also pepper and salt ready. Okay. You see the olive oil gets more liquid when it's warmed up. I mean, you might have noticed sometimes if the kitchen is where the oil is, if it's very cold, it can actually start clouding and getting thicker. Okay. The other thing that we will need to do in a minute, while we get the mushrooms going, will be to grate the Parmesan cheese, and so I'll start while I'm waiting for this to warm up. I'll start getting ready for the grating session.
Do you want to show Anjana what type of cheese we're using?
Yes, we're using vegan Parmesan. This is one from BioLife. It's the best I found. But if you don't have this, then you can use another vegan cheese, just as fine. Or if you're not a vegan and vegetarian, then you can use Parmesan, which you can find everywhere. These, for some reason, recently, although there are many products in every major supermarket, this one in particular has been a bit difficult to get hold of. I managed to find it in a health store, but not many. Doesn't seem that many big supermarkets stock it anymore, which is a problem. So might have to order it online directly from them.
How much cheese, Peter's asking?
We will need about, you'd say, one of these will do. This is about 150 grams. We'll see. I'll do it by hand. So by eye, we might have some left. I got some left over from last night, so we didn't use all of it. But we have it here, and then we'll see what we're talking about. Roughly, it will be about 100 grams of cheese.
And again, for Anjana's benefit, they want to tell that you do everything from scratch and it's all, step by step.
Yeah, for those of you that are here for the first time, I said we're doing everything from scratch here. No ready ingredient, and like this is what I prepared earlier. There's none of that going on. So we'll do it from start to finish. Now, as you can see, that the garlic is now sizzling. It's time to add the sorry, Katina,
See that? Yeah, I'm just going to show them the sizzling garlic.
And now add the mushrooms.
Sounds nice.
It does, doesn't it? You can really smell it. Okay. We add a generous pinch of salt. And now we let them absorb the oil a little bit. This is on a medium heat. But as soon as we done this, we then turn it down and then we cover it and we leave it alone for a few minutes. In the meantime, we can carry on. Shall I get back to my position? We carry on with the Parmesan.
Peter's asking, do you add salt? I think he
I did,
obviously
yes.
missed that. Yeah.
Yes, Peter, I did add some salt to the mushrooms. We'll be doing, don't worry about it, because we'll be doing plenty of tasting as we're cooking. And if you haven't added now, you can add a bit later. It's not a problem. I find the salt with the mushrooms helps to get the water out as well. So I add this straight away. So you'll see in a moment as the mushrooms start to cook. We don't need to use a lot of fat because the mushroom will shed its water and basically cook in their own juices. So as soon as we've done at least a little bit of this that we'll need for the bechamel. This is taking a long time. Then we start preparing the bechamel. Katrina, do you feel like no? She's refusing. She's refusing to grate the cheese. Point blank refusal.
Let's share
Okay.
it.
Okay, let's share it. No, come on, don't worry.
No, come on, let's
Well,
share
I
it.
can do it.
I haven't got strength in my arms. I'm terrible. And you can sit on the bechamel day. We can
Sorry?
share it. You can sit here.
Okay, we've got enough anyway for the bechamel, but we need some more to add. So I have Katrina at the moment while I have a sip of my tea. I have my trusted helper and cameraman.
Trusted cheese grater.
I can relieve my tennis elbow. Okay.
Got a message. Let's see what that says. Oh, Peter says, I have to admit I've not used vegan cheese, but that doesn't matter, does it? You said that at the beginning.
That's fine, Peter. So you can use
Parmesan.
you can use non-vegan cheese. I mean, this is I'm not.
Just because you're vegan, that's why.
I am vegan, so it's fine. But I'm not that dogmatic about things. So obviously, I'm teaching you the way that we do things, whether you use vegan ingredients or not. This is the way that my grandmother prepared these. And the only difference between vegan and non-vegan is that we're using soya milk instead of real milk, and we're using vegan cheese instead of normal cheese. But the procedure is exactly the same.
It still tastes nice at the end.
Yeah, it will taste lovely at the end. So, what we need to do now, we need to measure out 100 grams of flour. Yeah. So let's weigh 100 grams of flour. Using kind of like pasta grade flour. Any flour that you've got will do. Don't worry about it. The one you don't try not to use bread flour. That's a bit too thick. But any all-purpose flours would do. Put a little bit too much in there. So we want to remember 100 grams of flour. Okay, there we are, exactly 100 grams. And we also want 100 grams of olive oil. So as we're going to be using it straight away, that's how we do it. Okay. Add a little bit, a few drops. And that's 100 grams of olive oil.
There's a message. I could not get the vegan type. No, it's difficult to get this one, isn't it?
The what? Sorry, the vegan.
The vegan Parmesan. That's Peter again, yeah.
Yes, I've had trouble getting it as well. I even got in touch with the company. They said they should have it in Marks and Spencer and some of the Sainsbury's, but the Sainsbury where I used to get it, which is one of the the big superstores, doesn't have it anymore. Marks and Spencer, at least the one that where we are, doesn't have it, although they used to have it. So I don't know where to get it anymore unless you order it online. I know that there's a vegan supermarket that sells it, and might be other ways of ordering online.
Did you add the olive oil to the flour? He was asking.
Okay, at the moment I just put olive oil in the pan. That's this.
Sorry, I'm doing the cheese, so I'm not really following what you're doing.
That's fine. So starting this, I start putting the olive oil in the pan. Okay, low to mid flame. Okay, and we'll need a whisk. So you need a whisk. Add your soya milk ready. 1 liter, so a whole bottle. We'll be using a whole bottle of this.
Right, hold on. Peter's saying, did you add olive oil to the flour? He added it to the flour.
Oh,
the olive oil.
I haven't added flour yet. But if you have, then you need to do a bit of whisking because it might have some clumps in there. So what we'll do is that as the oil is warming up, what we do, we'll add the flour and we'll whisk to make sure that there are no what's it called? It doesn't get all sticky and horrible and blobby. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll add the flour little by little like this, and I'll make sure I combine it with the flour, with the oil. One of these wonderful gadgets that let them filter the flour a little bit time. And if your kitchen is not covered in flour by the end of this dish, then you haven't done things properly. Make sure you whisk it, Peter. If you have combined them first and then put them on the hob, then just make sure that you whisk it. Make sure that you whisk the thing properly, because we don't really want to. We don't really want it to. What do you call when it forms? Yeah, to form lumps. So we want it nice and smooth, please. Okay. So in the end, we should have quite a thick sauce. Let me just get rid of the last of the flour, and we'll keep this handy because we will need it later on as well for the pannacotta. Okay, so Katrina, I don't know if you want to show
Yeah. There you can see it.
It's still nice and smooth. Okay. Okay. In the moment, also we want to keep an eye on the mushrooms. Mushrooms, pretty much as you can see now, they all the water has come out. So what we do now, we take this off. Like this. And we start putting the spinach in. I'm doing one bit at a time, as otherwise it won't all fit into the pan. And again, as we're doing the bechamel, I'll just cover these for a moment.
Behind the pan. Got a leaf behind the pan.
That's fine. Okay. Okay. Here now we start, as this is starting to sizzle, we add the soya or oat milk.
How much are you adding?
A whole liter, a whole bottle. I want you to mix it well. Milk with the flour. And oil. So with this now, we want to carry on to stir it until it thickens. Now, because we're using lasagna sheets, they are dry, we want this to be a little bit more liquid than we otherwise do. So I suppose just the thickness of a really of a loose custard. Okay. Sorry, can I open this? Keep your whisk handy just in case you can feel some lumps forming, and then you give them another whisk. You see the spinach are already started to wilt. It won't take long at all. And as they do, we can add a few more until they're all in. Okay. And as you stir it, you can actually should be able to tell when there is a change of resistance and starting to get thicker. We also want to add some flavouring now. So we'll put some pinch of salt, maybe 2. We will need to taste everything, so don't worry about the absolute exact quantities, but you do it to a point where you're happy and you're comfortable with it. So we put some salt. Now we'll add about 1.5 tablespoons of ground nutmeg. We'll just give it mix it well first. the nutmeg done. Salt done as well. And the last ingredient is a dusting of pepper. And now we just have to be a little bit patient. We have to bring it to the point where it's almost boiling. And then when it reaches that point, we turn the heat down. Okay, while this is going, again, we pass it on onto the spinach and mushrooms. Should be able to give the last lot of spinach in now. Okay, this is 2 bags of spinach. Okay, now we carry on with the bechamel sauce. Which will be ready in a minute. In the meantime, you can give it. Oh, this is just need a little bit whisking from time to time, because I'm doing 2 things at once. Okay, any questions so far? No?
Oh, Christine. Okay, Christine's. Okay, Christine says my internet was frozen. She wants to know when you add the spinach. We add it to the mushrooms, right?
Yes, we added the spinach. We added the spinach to the mushrooms. Just put another pinch of salt in here. So all the spinach are in the pan with the mushrooms now.
You add them bit by bit.
Yeah, we've added them. We've added them little by little. So at the moment we are waiting for the bechamel to thicken a little bit. It's still too liquid at the moment. But we've added all the ingredients now, so we got. And you want to taste it to see if you're happy with the level of salt, pepper, and nutmeg. Again, if you like, I really like nutmeg in bechamel. So I put 1.5 teaspoons. Feel free to use more or less to taste. I'm quite happy with the level of salt and
Christine wants to know how low the flame is. So she wants to know if it's low or not.
Which
for
one?
The spinach.
With the spinach, I put it on a mid flame now because now that the spinach are all wilted, you want to really combine and mix them with the mushrooms and then let some of this water evaporate. You can see this is all the water from the spinach and the mushrooms. You haven't put any liquids in there. So we want to the spinach to finish cooking and releasing the water, and then we want it to dry up a little. So it's on a mid flame, but quite low.
Another question from Sue. yeah, teaspoon. Is it 1.5 teaspoons of or tablespoons of nutmeg that you put into the bechamel? Teaspoons.
Teaspoons. It's already quite a lot. 1.5 teaspoons of ground nutmeg. I think 1.5 tablespoons will actually be probably a bit too much. And again,
Peter said he used tablespoons.
Okay, it doesn't matter, but you'll have a very tasty lasagna. Nutmeg tasty lasagna. It won't hurt. It's just a little bit more spicy. So 1.5 tablespoons are about four teaspoons. Would you like a taste?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
These are lovely. They really are lovely, and I could eat them like this all day long.
It's a nice combination, isn't it?
Yeah. Nice?
Very nice, yeah.
So I just need to get back to it. Now I can feel this thickening up. I just give it another go with the whisk.
Deborah Payne just entered the meeting room.
Hello, Deborah. Good morning. Good morning to you. For those of you that don't know Deborah, she's one of the most assiduous members of this group. She comes every Saturday from Texas, where it's about 6 o'clock in the morning.
Before you do that, we've got something, Peter, sorry, with the cooking. I use tablespoons, he said. Oh yeah, you use tablespoons, sorry. And he's just thickened up.
Okay, fine. Take it off the heat. Turn it off if it's thickened up. We're almost there.
Yeah.
You can see now we want it quite loose, so we don't want it thick as a thick custard, just as a thin one.
Like going back to Deborah, because obviously I didn't want to interrupt there. She said she overslept. Oh, bless.
Oh, don't worry. I think you're entitled to that. Just
but you were saying that she's very sort of like loyal, coming at when it's 6 o'clock in the US and it's like 1 o'clock here.
Exactly. So Deborah, just to rewind something for you. So in there we put about 5 cloves of garlic, 2 punnets of mushrooms, which we let cook for about 5 to 10 minutes. And then we added the spinach and some salt. Now we're just waiting for some of this juice to evaporate, which is all the water released by the mushrooms and by the spinach. And then we'll be starting with the lasagna. Okay, I'm happy now with the thickness. I'll just show you the thickness so far. I can feel it basically more than you won't be able to see that much, but I can feel it when I'm stirring. Now there's quite a lot of resistance. So when the bechamel cools down, it will thicken some more. But before we finish, I turn the heat off under the bechamel sauce now. With my measuring cup, my trusting Thomas the Tank Engine measuring cup.
Oh, Peter's worrying because he said his is thicker than yours.
If it's a lot thicker, you might need to add a little bit more milk and loosen it up a little bit. Because now also we'll add some kind of like half a cup of cheese to the sauce. Then we stir it in until it is all nice and dissolved. So this is off the heat now. Okay, so it's been turned off. Okay. Let me make sure that it's all nicely blended. Okay, so this is done. Yeah, quite happy with the results of that. And yeah, we let this carry on for another couple of minutes. Not all the water needs to evaporate, but just some of it, because there was a bit too much. Okay, so we let it cook for another couple of minutes. And while that happens, we will start preparing our lasagna.
Peter's asking if you put all the Parmesan in.
No, just half a cup. Not just in the news. I just put about half of this. You can add maybe a little bit more. But the rest of the Parmesan we'll leave it for later. Okay, so let me make some room in here. I'll be using a glass tray. Okay. The first thing we do is just like put a little bit of olive oil or any other oil just to grease the cooking tray. Okay, that's done. Then let me just move this out of the way too. Start laying a layer of bechamel. We'll just spread it around the tray.
Peter's wanting to know if you put in olive oil, that's when you...
Yes, just greased it really, Peter. I don't really, just a dot of olive oil, and then I spread it around with a bit of kitchen paper. So we have a layer of a bechamel like this, and then we start laying our lasagna. So this is what I'm using, M&S lasagna sheet. So you can find them in any supermarket. I was in M&S last night, so just got some. And we just start laying them down like this. I think I'll have it like this at three lots. And I put some more bechamel on top. Want to make sure that the bechamel is a little bit loose if you're using these lasagna sheets, because we won't be pre-cooking them. Okay, just double check. Okay, we're almost ready with these mushrooms. There is a bit of liquid in there, but we're mixing now with the bechamel, and it will all get thicker. So I just let it go for another 30 seconds or so. In the meantime, while we've put the bechamel, also put a sprinkle of Parmesan, and we'll do this for each layer. Now, I think I'll turn this off and give it another stir, and be putting about half of my bechamel going there in there. Okay, and mix it all in. Take this off the heat now. And remember, the oven is on at 200 degrees, so be ready to put the lasagna in soon. Okay. Before we start garnishing the lasagna, there's obviously the testing, because we need to check. Is it just as I like it? Okay. Now let's bring it closer. And we start adding one layer of this as well. It looks fairly liquid now, so but don't worry about it. It will dry up in the. Just add a little bit more bechamel to this. It will dry up once we put it in the oven. Make sure you push it all to the edges. Okay, so this is one layer. And I put another layer of our lasagna sheets. Get a little bit closer together. And then just cover them with a bit of bechamel. Leaving also, make sure that it doesn't matter if you don't have enough bechamel from each layer, because there's plenty in the mushrooms as well, but leave a good bit of bechamel for the top of the lasagna, okay? So make sure that you're not left without. Okay. Another layer of mushrooms and spinach.
Peter said he's used all his sauce.
What? All the bechamel already?
Yeah.
Blimey, Peter, must be swimming in it.
No, but it was a little bit thicker, wasn't it?
Okay.
That's why it was probably.
So if you run out of bechamel sauce, you can.
A very thin lasagna.
Yeah, exactly. A very thin lasagna, I'm afraid. I suppose you can do it so you have some of this at the top as well. So when you have your last layer of lasagna, you're gonna have to have some of this on top instead of bechamel. Okay. Again, I'll do another layer. Forgot Parmesan. Generous amount of Parmesan. And obviously the pasta absorbs. Caterina is crunching on pasta, is one of her favorite pastimes. Crunching on dry pasta. So, I mean, it's quite funny because you can't see it, but I can see on the side of on the corner of my eye this hand that's coming to grab dry pasta. and then the crunching sound that follows. Okay, another layer of this. I almost used all the filling. Okay, and a little bit more. And by the way, if you have any left of this, it's very nice to eat on its own as well.
Mine does not look as good as yours, bless Peter. Oh, that's Peter again.
Don't worry, Peter.
It's the taste that matters.
Exactly, exactly. It's the taste that matters. And the taste will be there. We use the ingredients. Okay, so I've used all the filling. Let's add some more, another generous dusting of Parmesan. Okay, and now we have the last layer of lasagna sheets. Okay, which we will cover with the remaining bechamel sauce. As you can see, it's quite a bit thicker now, as it does when it cools down. Make sure you cover at least all the pasta, and then if you got any spare, it covers all the gaps. You can see it looks like a lot of ingredients I'm going in here, and you really have. But it's quite a rich dish. So especially it's good for the winter, because we need a few more calories in the winter than we do in the summer. But it's really, really delicious. And just to finish it off, I'll be using a little bit of cheese to melt on the top. Just out of space. Go over here so you can see. So this is I just got some vegan cheese that I got from M&S last night. And I'll just doesn't have to be masses, just a little bit. Just cut it in little chunks. So not too small, it doesn't have to be. Okay, now I've got these chunks of cheese.
Sue wants to know, how much Parmesan did you grate?
I grated a whole packet, which was about 150 grams, but I've got some left, so I haven't actually used it all.
What's left? Yeah, that's what's left.
Probably, I would say, roughly about 100 grams. There we are. It's a little bit more because there's a lonely area. I don't want to leave any area out. Okay. So now we're ready to go in the oven.
You don't put any of that.
No, you put any of those Parmesan on top because it doesn't melt really when it's on the top. Okay. So I will put, oh, sorry, spoken too early. What I would like to do first, an important step.
Right. My strips. Oh, Peter says that his strips have curled up.
What?
His strips of pasta have curled up.
Are they? You want to make sure that they got enough weight at the top with the other ingredients. It shouldn't be curling up at this stage. We just cover with some.
It says he ran out. Okay.
Yeah, that's probably why.
Why?
So we cover it with some foil at the beginning, and we'll be placing it in the oven, not right at the top, but let's say around the middle of the oven. And I keep it in there covered for 20 minutes so that it doesn't dry too much. And we'll then remove the cover. Sorry, I've got something on the floor. Remove the cover after 20 minutes to let it crisp up at the top. Okay, so this is at the moment as much as we're going to do with the lasagna. I'll combine the juices because these are delicious. Even if you got some left, you can use it for, depending on how much you have, you can use it for pasta. You can. It's even nice on toast. So I won't be wasting any of this. Not that much, but okay. Let me put just the timer on. So put a timer on for 20 minutes. It will take, how long it takes for the lasagna to be cooked, it will depend on your oven, okay? So generally with our oven it will be about 35-40 minutes, okay? So I'll put the timer on for 20 minutes and once that's gone, I'll remove the aluminium foil and let it cook without cover to crisp up a little.
Deborah says the spinach alone looks delicious. And Peter's saying, how can you repeat about the oven, how long it needs to be in the oven?
Yes, I've put the oven on 200 degrees and I estimate with our oven it will take about 35-40 minutes. It will depend on your oven, obviously. If yours is fan assisted, Peter, it will probably be a little less. But we'll keep an eye on it. The first half of the cooking time, you cover it so that it doesn't dry up too much, and then remove the aluminium foil and let it cook and cover for the rest of the time. So I have it on timer for 20 minutes, and so at least I'll be warned once it's been in there for 20 minutes, and then remove the foil. In the meantime, we can start preparing our pannacotta. So pannacotta, we will need 250 grams of vegan cream. This is the one I'm using. Okay. Then we will need a little bit of milk, about 40 ml of either soya milk, whatever milk you're using. I'm using oat milk. So I'll be measuring out roughly 40 ml of those. Where are we? Okay, so there's 40 ml of milk. That's it, not a lot. Then we will need one. Let's see. 1 tablespoon of rice flour. Okay, so 1 tablespoon of rice flour.
Catherine's just put something in the chat.
Sure.
What else can you use if you don't have rice flour?
Rice flour is just more delicate. I mean, you can use normal flour. The cake, you know, all-purpose, the thin flour. But yeah, you can use that. And one tablespoon of corn flour. Okay, then we will need a. Let me just finish the ingredients first. We will need a gelling agent, which we'll talk about in a second. Okay, we will need a yogurt. So I'll be using one of Alpro's soya yogurts. This one is, you know, banana and strawberries. Any flavor is good. Doesn't really matter. And then we will need a gelling agent. Now, I finally managed to find agar flakes, which is made out of a sea vegetable. Okay, which is good. Or you can use something like this, which has got as well, like a Vegeset, which is again is another vegetarian gelling agent. It doesn't use animal products. Okay, so I'll be using this.
Can you use gelatin? Peter's asking.
Yes, of course you can use gelatin, but it's got beef. It's a beef product, gelatin. Okay, so if you're okay, if you're not vegan, then there's no problem. If you are vegan, then vegan normally have problem with gelatin because of that. Okay, let me get my pan. Okay, so we start first with the cream. Okay, this is 270, so almost the whole of this to about 250. Okay. And then we bring our trusted friend back because we put this on the hob now on a low flame, low to medium flame. And we start adding the rice flour. So we'll need to use the other, sorry, just to get the other whisk. We need to use the whisk as well. So. So this is the rice flour, or if you don't have that, the other flour that you're using. Okay, so that is gone. Okay, so what we want to do, we want to bring that almost to the boil and then reduce the flame.
Christine.
Okay, we're using now. Sorry.
Christine says she has to go, but thanks for this lasagna recipe and bye to everybody. Bye, Christine.
Bye, Christine.
Thank you for coming.
See you next week.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we'll do now, we need to use the gelling agent. To use it. So I'll be using 1.5 teaspoons of agar flakes. And what we do first is we combine it with the little milk that we had, with the 40 ml of milk. Combine it with the milk at room temperature before adding it onto the cream. Okay. So, then. Yeah. Okay. Give it a whisk. Now,
And Sue has to go as well. Oh, lovely. Sue says she has to go, but her lasagna is in the oven. Thanks very much. I'll send a photo later.
oh, fantastic, Sue. Thank you for letting us know. We now add some custard sugar. We want about 50 grams of custard sugar, which are about 3.5 tablespoons. Okay. Okay. Literally, almost as soon as it starts boiling, this will be ready to add the other ingredients. In the meantime, let me prepare the yogurt.
Right. So, question from Sue. How much liquid is gelling agent supposed to set? Mine is in sachets that's set at a pint.
Generally, that's the the amount. I mean, this is, you use a little bit more than you would usually do. This one, for example, is that Vegeset is about 1 teaspoon per 500 ml, and this one. This is a little bit less. So this is one tablespoon will do half a pound. Okay, so we used basically what you would use, maybe what you have about half a sachet rather than a full sachet. Okay, this is boiling now, and it's time that we add now the yogurt. The color of the finished products will depend on the yogurt you're using and also on the gelling agent. Some of them, like Vegeset, are completely clear, where the agar powder is a little bit cloudy. Okay, now we mix this and we'll add the corn flour, and we will need to use this for the corn flour.
Is it okay without yogurt? Peter's asking.
I don't know. I haven't tried it with that because the yogurt is what gives you a little bit of this consistency. It's not too hard and not too soft as well. I haven't tried it without yogurt, Peter. But if you do try it, then let me know. Let me know how you get on. Oops. Okay, so this is pretty much done now. Trying to put it in some shapes so that we can then cool it and enjoy. Okay. Using these to pour into. You can see the mixture is quite thick. I don't know if you want to come close to it now. It's quite thick already, and it's very hot at the moment. So it will become.
Picks up on that. Catherine says none for your son then, as you only have 2. No, I'm not. I'm the one who's not eating it. I'm going to just have a taste. Watching the calories.
The secret is that we have one from last night as well. So we do have 3, but yeah, Katrina's doing very good at the moment. By the way, Francesco hasn't woken up yet. He's enjoying his time away from uni.
Nice.
Okay. So what will normally happen with these is that you need to then put them in the fridge and let them set for about 4 hours. Okay. What we'll be trying to do instead, as well now with at least one of them, and I don't know if I'll be successful in this. I'll try cooling it artificially with with just some cold water first, and then I'll be adding some ice as well. Obviously, if you do this, make sure you use something that's about the same height.
Oops,
you don't want water to go into the sauce. Okay, so we let it cool down like that. Maybe I'll see if I can do them both. And then in a minute I'll bring some ice out to speed up the process. Okay. There's the ice. Okay, in the meantime, I think it's the lasagna is almost ready. No, another 3 minutes. And then we remove the covering.
Okay, Catherine's got a question. How long would it take to cool down enough in fridge? This is how you're doing it at the moment, isn't it, Elizabeth?
Yes, Catherine, it would be about 4 hours
sorry.
to set. It's to cool down and set properly.
Oh, what's happened?
You okay?
What's just against?
Just close.
You lost the video.
Oh, you
Sorry, I've turned the video off by mistake.
Back.
Okay, so these are.
Okay, I say in the fridge, they would take over 3 to 4 hours. Okay. So it's something that you could prepare now. I mean, if you want to have it this evening, you can prepare it now, and you will enjoy it later. And then all you need to do is just the topping. Okay. Okay, we'll start adding some ice to it. It's already quite solid. But he's not. He hasn't set properly yet.
Got a question. What's the question? When do you take the foil off the lasagna? Peter's asking.
In a minute. It's almost been 20 minutes. I've got the timer there. So. Now we leave it alone. We leave it alone for a little while. Well, it will be time to take the carving of the lasagna. We can have a look at it as well for a second. Okay. Sorry, we are flat. Okay. I can now put it in for another 20 minutes. Uncovered. Oh, just now I remember that just when you finish cooking the mushrooms, I actually forgot to add some parsley. It's just a nice touch. It won't affect the taste too much. It's better if I hadn't forgotten, but that will work anyway. Okay, so now let me just make some room. As soon as we're starting to put a topping on the dessert. As soon as it has cooled down a little bit, set. Very wobbly at the moment.
So look.
Yeah, as you can see, it's been there. I mean, it's still a bit. It's cooling down, but it's still a bit warm. You can see it's still wobbly. So I won't guarantee that this. We'll try with one of them. I won't guarantee they won't go splat completely. In case it does, I'll be using then last night's trial to decorate. Okay. For the decoration, I'll just be using a little pan like this one, because we only have a few ingredients going in. Here you can then bring your taste buds into play, because the topping really is whatever you like. Today I'll demonstrate you with what I like, but you can try whatever you want. What I'm using some a little bit of milk chocolate. This one, like this is it's got almonds as well in it. Got some plain peanut butter, and then we're using a little bit of the cream and milk to finish off. To give it a little bit more interest as well, I'm using some chopped nuts to give it a little bit of texture too.
Good evening. Francesca's just woken up.
Right.
Good evening.
Francesca just emerged.
Good evening.
Oh, dear.
Okay, so I've got some chopped nuts as well, and what I'll do is that before I do anything else, I will chop them lightly on the hob. Sorry, toast them lightly on the hob. Again, my other ingredients ready. I say a little bit of chocolate. Again, you can use dark chocolate if you like. You can use milk chocolate, white chocolate, whatever you want.
Sue says must be nearly tasting time. That's Francesca waking up. I think, yes, you're right.
Okay, I have half a teaspoon of peanut butter. I can smell the mixed nuts just toasting. Okay, so I put now the chocolate, and peanut butter in there. Then I add like about a couple of tablespoons of soya milk. And the remainder of my cream I used for the for the thing before. We give it a swirl until everything is nicely melted. You can, if it's too too thick or too loose, you can just add another dollop of cream or another little bit of chocolate. You want it to be quite a thick sauce. Just add a little bit more peanut butter because I like it. I like it. It's kind of like sweet and salted. Okay. As soon as this is finished melting, This is done as well. You can see it's nice and quite thick. I'll just leave it on there for a minute. And now is the trial. Let's see if the Pannacotta has set enough or not. It's not as wobbly as before, so we'll give it a try. As I said, it might not work. In that case, I'll show you what I did last night. Set more than I thought. No, it doesn't. It hasn't set. Not set yet. Let's cook it back. You can see they're starting to on the sides here, but all the middle is still liquid. So what I will do, I will leave this to cool down, be eaten later, and I will show you last night basically. This had time to cool down in the fridge. Okay. We're just now adding the finishing touch.
See.
I like to be quite indulgent. There we go. Now,
Maria says it looks really yummy.
Katrina, this deserves a photo before we pack in.
Yes, of course. Hold on.
Excuse me. This is exactly what we've been doing, just done a few hours earlier, unfortunately, because I wasn't sure that that would set in time. Francesco, would you like a taste?
Francesca, you coming? You woke up just in time, according to Sue. Let's just
The first try.
You need to squeeze in a bit.
Yeah, you can,
Well, don't worry. Just see.
Yeah, it's nice.
Dinner of Kings, so you start with the dessert, and then by the time we finish enjoying this,
Let's have a taste behind the camera.
it's very it's very delicate as well. So I know we'll take if you're trying it now, would you have some more?
I'll have one more. And then, thank you.
It will take a few more hours before you can enjoy. Yeah. As you can see now, it's quite firm in the middle as well. And we almost ready for the lasagna too. I'll show you. It's another 7 or 8 minutes to go, but I just want to show you. You see, it's starting to crisp up at the top. And I'll just turn it around because the back of the oven is a lot warmer than the front of it. Okay, so a few more minutes. I suppose we can indulge a little bit more of this. Sorry, not to rub it in, but simply because it's so lovely.
Lasagna looks really nice too. That's from Maria.
Lasagna is delicious. If I can say so myself. And we've had, we had a trial run last night, so I can tell you from first-hand experience. So the good thing about lasagna is that you can. It takes a little while to prepare, like you've seen today, but you can do it in industrial quantities if you want, and freeze it, so you know, one evening when you don't have time or you don't want to cook, you can just take it out of the freezer and put it in the oven. It's just as nice as it will be now. Okay, while we're waiting for the lasagna to come out, should be a few more minutes yet. Let's see if there are any questions on what we've covered so far. Caterina, can you? Sorry. No, everything clear? Let's go back to this.
Wrote it all down, Maria said.
Sorry?
Maria's written it all down, so.
Fantastic. If you could pass it on as well, so it saved me having to write it down again when I do the recipe. With this second, let's go quickly through what we did for the lasagna.
Peter says, can you, wait a minute, one more question, sorry. Peter says, can you send me your recipe procedure?
I will do, Peter. Just haven't had time to write them all down. I started to post the videos and the recipes at the beginning in the Genius U page called Italian Vegan. There are quite a few recipes and videos in there, but I need to catch up. And I'll start. What I will start doing, putting on a couple a week. So we're doing what we do that Saturday, and I'll catch up by one. And slowly we'll have them all on.
He says he can't write and cook at the same time.
Yeah, well, what we've done today, I will write it down and post it. And I'll send you a link to the Genius U page where all the videos and recipes are. Okay. Any more questions? Okay. Just very quickly, tell you the procedure of what we have done so far. First of all, we've done the mushrooms. So we use about 5 cloves of garlic, crushed. Put them in the pan with 2 or 3 tablespoons of olive oil. So as it warmed up and the garlic started sizzling, then we added the mushrooms, added a little bit of salt, and then and then covered for 5 to 10 minutes. Once the mushrooms had shed most of their water, then we added the 2 bags of spinach. Again, you have to do it little by little because they're so big, but then once they cook, they pretty much shrivel to nothing. And once the spinach had reduced, then we uncovered and we let some of the liquid evaporate. We then added the bechamel made with 100 ml of olive oil, 100 grams of flour, which we quickly whisked together with the olive oil on the hob. And then we added 1 liter of oat milk. This is the one that we're using. Oat milk, and then you keep whisking until it thickens. And then we just added some sea salt, black pepper, and 1.5 teaspoon of ground nutmeg. And this is once they are thickened up to the thickness of a thin custard, we then added it on add half of it to the mushroom and spinach. The other half we kept to line the tray where we were doing the lasagna. So with that lined up with the bechamel, then 1 layer of lasagna, a bit more bechamel, and 1 layer of mushroom and spinach. then another layer of lasagna, and so on, building it up until the last layer of lasagna. We just put bechamel on top, and then some chunks of cheese at the top to give an extra texture, and to melt at the top, and to create a little bit of a glaze as well. Okay, those are the lasagnas. They are going into the oven at 200 degrees, 20 minutes covered with foil, so they wouldn't dry up too much. The other 20 minutes now uncovered, and is drying up a little bit and crisping up at the top. So that's the lasagna. For the panna cotta, let's cool in there again. We're using 250 ml of milk, again using oat milk, 1 tablespoon of rice flour, 1 tablespoon of corn flour, then 1 liter pot of yogurt, and again we combine them all together by doing first the cream with the rice flour, and then we added the gelling agent, which in my case today was Agar flakes, 1.5 teaspoon of this. Then once it reached the boiling point, we added the yogurt and the corn flour, and just mix it together with a whisk for a minute, and we let it to then pour it into the shapes, the forms that you're using, and then cool down. That should cool down for about 4 hours. We attempted to cool it down quickly with some ice, but it hasn't set yet. So what I'll do now, I'll put it in the fridge. And this is the result of one that we prepared last night. Again, I'm just putting the topping, some chocolates, a bit of a few mixed nuts, and about 1/2 teaspoon of peanut butter, plus a couple of tablespoons of vegan cream, and about the same quantity of oat milk. Okay, mix it all together, let it all melt, and then just pour it on top. So these are the 2 dishes, and I think it's about time now that we taste the lasagna as well. Let's make some room. Okay. No. There you are. I'm not quite sure if you can hear it, but this is now.
Deborah says she lost her Wi-Fi for a moment. You didn't miss anything, Deborah.
Okay, that's the lasagna. Like, one thing that if you are serving this to your guests, let it cool down for a few minutes, because it's deadly as it just comes out of the oven. So
Deborah says it looks delicious.
We just let it rest for a couple of minutes before cutting it up, because the temperature is really, really high. So I'll get ready. Sharp knife. And we will start. And catch it roughly where I put the different layers. These are pretty much like 3 parallel layers of lasagna, so it makes it easier to cut in a portion. Nice, and really nice, and juicy as well. Okay, we get serving dish. Another layer, another mouth to feed. Like some, Katrina, would you?
Taste some. It's very,
Francesco,
very nice. It's delicious.
would you like one?
He's not refusing it.
It's waiting in the shadows.
Looks amazing.
Number 2. Katrina, shall I do a smaller one? Or?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay. Like this?
Yep, that's lovely.
Is a half a portion for Katrina. It's come apart a little bit. Just relax. Voila.
Delicious. Thank you.
Francesco, would you like to come and have a taste?
Oops, thank you. I get inside because there's room for 2.
There's room for 3. Are you? I want you to come to join us, Katrina?
Come at the back.
Come on. This is the final touch tasting. It's very nice and very creamy.
It's lovely. Really, really nice.
Now, as everything, as all the other things, if you let it cool down a little, then it will be more structured.
Yeah. Doesn't matter.
No, we actually like it nice and hot.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. So shall I let you sit in front of the video now while I see if there are any?
Sorry,
Okay.
I'm all quiet. It's too nice to talk.
Yeah. As my wife, Deborah is saying, I was finally able to find Romanesco broccoli. As I'm making penne ragu di broccoli Romanesco. That's very good. This is one of the dishes that we did recently. And Maria said, making my mouth water. And Carol saying, looks lovely. I hope so. I hope so.
What places. It's absolutely delicious. Yeah. Really, really nice.
This is really nice, actually. Quite yeah. Enjoying this.
Is Peter's ready?
Peter, let us know the results of your lasagna. Hopefully, it still come out nice. The flavor should all be there. Even if they've only got a couple of layers where then.
Was Sue cooking as well? But she's gone, isn't she?
Sue said she put it in the oven.
Yeah.
Then she had to leave.
Right, she had to leave. Yeah. Very nice. Mine tastes okay, but for the curly bits. Okay, cut those off.
So this is very nice, and depending on how you like it, I like it quite soft on the top as well. Like if you want it crispy, you can either leave it another 5 minutes, or for the last couple of minutes you can put it under the grill. It's really quite, as you can see, very creamy. The flavor is quite delicate as well. Because the spinach as well are quite creamy. The mushrooms obviously are also soft.
Right.
So
You're getting engrossed with eating.
you have to be careful because it's still very, very hot in the middle. So I really enjoy doing this with you today, and hopefully you learned a little bit of another dish, another ways of doing lasagna. If you have any questions, please fire away. Otherwise, I will.
Thank you so much from Deborah.
You're very welcome.
Did you take a picture of your lasagna? Yes, we did.
Did we? No, maybe not.
Oh, did we not?
No, maybe not. But yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it now then, before demolishing the rest of it.
Peter says, lesson learned: do not cook and follow Luke at the same time. Oh.
No, make sure you follow everything.
Yeah.
Make sure you follow everything. That's part of the fun. That maybe you run forward a little bit too much rather than.
Two more messages. Carol says, thank you. Sue saying, looking forward to this. Thank you. That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
So
thank you very much. And I will think about what to do next week. I haven't quite thought about it.
Before you go on,
Yeah.
Sorry, Catherine says, thank you. Nice to have you back on Saturdays.
Oh, you're very welcome. And by the way, just a little bit of Italian habits or kind of like superstitions in a way. It's one of the dishes that we always eat on New Year's Eve is lentils. And just so lentils are served in a variety of ways, but they're meant to be good luck at the start of the year. So the more lentils you eat, the more money you will have for the rest of the year. So you will find that whenever you go to an Italian house, generally it happen to be on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, you always find a dish of lentils. Often tradition is to have lentils with cotechino, which is like pig's trotters. Well, obviously there are many vegetarian and vegan variants as well. Okay, it takes too long. I had an idea of doing it today, but it takes too long to cook, and it would have been good to sit down and wait for about an hour for things to be ready. Okay, so I wish you all a nice weekend.
Wait a minute, Deborah says something about New Year's Eve and what they eat. We eat black-eyed peas on New Year's Eve for the same reason.
Oh,
Brilliant.
excellent.
It's nice to know, isn't it?
So lentils in Italy and black-eyed peas in
The US,
Texas.
yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much. Have you all a lovely weekend, and I'll post the recipe. Tomorrow, so you can have a go. If you're not doing it yet, you can have a go tomorrow, maybe. Okay, and see you on next Saturday. Thank you very much.